Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kindland Report. I'm your host, Leon Bibb. Higher learning represents many things to many people: knowledge, status, income, and all other rewards a diploma may bring. But as Martin Luther King once eloquently stated, intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. My guest today has been devoted to an entire career in education, to not only improving minds, but instilling the values that foster more satisfying careers and ultimately better members of society. As she completes her first year as president of Cleveland State University, Dr. Laura Bloomberg continues to impact students and engage the community at large with innovative, value-driven programs. Welcome to the broadcast today.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that kind introduction.
Oh, my pleasure. Good to have you with us. After 24 years at the University of Minnesota, you find yourself here in Cleveland.
That's right.
As president of Cleveland State University. How's it going?
Well, as I tell my colleagues often, I think I have the best job in the world. I think it's going well. It's not always easy. There's a lot of work to be done, and it's a challenging time in higher education. But I would say things are going well at Cleveland State University.
What do you have to keep uppermost in mind as the goals of the university?
You started by invoking the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And when you ask me, what do I keep in mind as the goal? I would have to say the pursuit of education as a basic civil right for everybody. Mm-hmm. That means that I care about the education that happens to children in CMSD in all of our school districts, as well as the education of students who come to higher education. And what that means for Cleveland State University is that I want to lead an institution that is maximally accessible and affordable and approachable to the people who want to pursue an education there.
Dr. Bloomberg, how does kindness fit into this process?
It's no surprise that I think we all realize that we are in so many ways divided and angry as a country. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that cleaves us apart, things that we disagree on, pain and violence and hurting happening in our cities and our rural areas. That's the reality that we're living in. And as we emerge from the pandemic, we see some of that amplified. Kindness does not fix all of that, but I believe this common sense of decency, respect for each other, and a level of kindness and empathy is fundamental to healing some of the wounds that we're inflicted with right now.
Do you ask your faculty members and staff to bring that into the classroom?
We talk a lot about respect. I think we could talk more about the fundamental principles of kindness. I'm really intrigued by what Kindland has done and the message of Kindland here. We do want our students and our faculty and our staff to all feel respected and valued on campus, and that takes a level of kindness. I think we have a generation of young people who will say something like, yeah, kindness is fine, but what we really want is justice. We want justice in the world. And when we talk more about it, we come to the realization that those two terms are not mutually exclusive. They're not separated from each other. So when we talk about wanting people to be treated fairly or justly, we are also talking about being kind with each other. I see those two as related, and I think increasingly our students do.
You're the Kindland co-chair, then. You're going to host something at Cleveland State University. Tell me about your involvement with the Kindland Initiative and why you see the Kindland Initiative as important.
I had been in Cleveland for a very short time. I think it was October or November of that year. There was a gathering, a banquet, a Kindland banquet, where they were going to be recognizing people who were particularly embodied the values of Kindland. And I went with a colleague. And that night, I sat at a table with people I'd never met before. And we struck up the most powerful conversation about why they were involved with this initiative and how the fundamental principles that underlie Kindland are shaping how they think about their role as a school superintendent or as the family that runs the Orlando Bakery all kinds of different people talking about the value of this, and it really got my attention. So when Stuart said we want to host a summit, it was really easy for me to say, I'd like to be able to host it with you and on our campus.
As president of Cleveland State University, you've got the job of educating students over here, preparing them for the working world and community and all of that. We want you to be good citizens at the same time.
Yes.
And bring heart to whatever it is you choose to do in your life.
And all of those things fit well together. So we may have faculty members who are teaching classes and really trying to figure out how to build a bridge across generations with our students, across interest areas, across all of the ways that we are diverse as a community. They will also have a research active agenda. They may be advancing new knowledge in their labs. And at the same time, we're saying be engaged in the community. And when the magic really happens at a university is when all those parts weave together and each amplifies the other. That's what we're trying to do every day.
In these days of the 21st century, we deal with a lot of emotional things. You need only to read the newspapers, look at the television, and you see that there's been violence on college campuses. How do you handle that with your young minds, especially the students who look at our world and may have some fears because of the way our present day world looks when it comes to violence and guns and things like that?
It is heartbreaking to me. It doesn't make me want to leave education to see the kind of violence that we have seen perpetuated in K-12 institutions and higher ed institutions. It makes me want to stay and double down on how we create safe spaces. I do not believe we can build structures, walls, metal detectors that completely protect us. That's not the kind of society that we're in. So what we have to do is also build a level of empathy, adequate mental health supports for people, and a community where people are looking out for each other. That doesn't completely protect us from gun violence. There's other things we got to do, if you ask me. But when we look out for each other and care about each other, we will create a safer environment as well. I really believe that.
We're glad you're here, and we were glad to have you appeared on the program with us today. We're glad you're talking about kindness and talking about all the other things that come across your desk and across your life. We've been talking with Laura Bloomberg, president of Cleveland State University, talking about her new job as president of the university, talking about how kindness also plays a role in what she and the faculty and the staff and the students are doing at the university, getting an education, but there's a kindness component that goes along with it, and we appreciate her being on the broadcast with us today. This is the Kindland Report. I'm Leon Bibb. Thank you, and so long.